In this video we're turning Doom 2 into a roguelike. Alright, let's begin. We have 5 components, and if you've got no clue what a roguelike or roguelite is, stick around and you'll get a pretty good idea. Our first component is characters. Every great roguelite has a handful of characters that the player experiences the game through, and depending on which character you choose, your playstyle and gaming experience will differ. For example, in the roguelike The Binding of Isaac, the relic is especially great as Blue Baby, because the relic increases the chance of finding soul hearts, and Blue Baby's HP can only consist of soul hearts. And that makes the relic a lot more valuable to the player when they're playing as Blue Baby. To bring effective character classes to Doom, we'll use DOOM Roguelike Arsenal. DRLA introduces 5 different characters to choose from, but if we use CMM DoomRL Classes, we'll have 9 in total. Each of them are different and more proficient with different items. For example, the Marine uses less ammo when firing automatic weapons, the Scout does more damage with pistols, the Renegade shoots 50% more pellets when using shotguns, the Demolitionist is immune to splash damage, and the Nanomaniac gets his weapons randomized every level. And that's only 5 of the characters available, and I haven't even mentioned all of their abilities. The next component is randomly generated levels. Roguelites like Enter the Gungeon are highly replayable not just for their different classes, but also for the randomly generated levels. And bringing that component to Doom's levels is made possible with Obsidian. Obsidian is a random map generator for Doom. There's a set of options, sliders, and themes that help the user cater the map experience to their liking. The possibilities are endless with Obsidian, and every once in a while you could come across maps that are honestly not that bad. We'll be back for Obsidian later in the video. For now, let's put it aside and move on to our third component, enemies and bosses. Roguelites are known for their variety of enemies and memorable bosses, especially bosses because they are such a big part of the roguelite experience. So to bring this variety in enemies to Doom, we'll use the DRLA Monster Pack. This pack will add many varieties of familiar enemies, like Imps, Pinkies, Lost Souls, and Barons, and many more. Different variants of enemies will obviously have different attacks, and that keeps the player on their toes for the entire game. But now you've defeated all the mobs of demons and want a greater challenge to measure how powerful you've become over the course of your run. That's where bosses come in. How do we add bosses, you ask? Well, with the help of Obsidian, of course. There's an option that creates a randomized boss fight every given number of levels. I personally like my runs short, so I play a single episode which consists of 11 levels, and every 3 levels a boss fight will appear. Like I said, those bosses are random, and honestly sometimes they're completely unfair. Game over, yeah! But I wouldn't say beating them is impossible. Alright, so now we have the classes, the enemies, levels, and bosses. It's time for the fourth component, the loot. Roguelites have a plethora of items to help the player get stronger, and different synergies between items keeps the player hungry for that perfect run. And in Vanilla Doom, we have what, like 10 weapons? So to bring a lot more loot and items, we are again relying on DRLA. The Doom Roguelike Arsenal adds over 220 weapons to Doom. And that is not all it adds, there are also mod packs to modify your weapons, armors with varying effects, as well as boots also with their different effects, and backpacks and many other items. This is probably the most fun I've had playing Doom since the first time I've completed the game. And now it's time for the fifth component, Permadeath. This to me is the most crucial component in the roguelite genre. When you lose, you start from zero all over again with a new randomly generated level. So on the last run, that was your only chance to beat the game under those circumstances, and now you're starting a new run with different circumstances. And the best way to achieve this effect in Doom is to just reboot the game with a newly generated episode, and don't save scum. But what if you cheat and replay your last run or reload the save? Well, chances are you lost your last run for a reason, and you'll probably lose again and get frustrated. Also, losses won't have the same effect they do in other roguelites. Now I'm gonna mention a few bonus components. Every great roguelite has damage numbers. Yes, it is so satisfying to see numbers popping out of your enemies to let you know exactly how much damage you're dealing. With the Doom mod Universal Damage Numbers, we can bring this feature to Doom. This mod is highly customizable as you can pick the size, font, and color of the damage numbers. The second bonus component is for those of you who love Brutal Doom and can't imagine playing the game without all of that tomato sauce. To bring a little bit of ketchup to DRLA, we're gonna use Bolongese Gore. And for our final bonus component, we have corruption cards. This mod will add a lot of gameplay modifying cards to the game. The effects of the cards range from changing monster behavior, adding new mechanics, adding extra hazards, and much more. If you're looking to add a little bit of spice to your runs, this is the mod to do it. With all those mods combined, we've just turned Doom into an FPS game with roguelike elements, which makes it a roguelite, not a roguelike per se. But what exactly is a roguelike? Instead of giving you a boring explanation, I'm just gonna give you even more components to worry about. There are 5 components that make a roguelike: grid-based top-down movement, permadeath, turn-based combat, dungeon-style combat, and absolute freedom. Now you're probably thinking we can't ever turn Doom into a roguelike because it just won't be Doom anymore, right? Top-down movement, turn-based combat? Well, there's actually a game out there called DOOM Roguelike, and you don't have to set up anything and you don't need the original Doom. All you have to do is just go to the website and download and play. And I know most of you guys are really lazy and probably won't do any of this yourselves, so I've done you a favor and left a link in the description for a folder. It has everything I've mentioned in this video. And if you're looking for a new roguelite to play, I highly recommend Doomsday Hunters, especially if you're a big fan of Doom. Thank you for watching, leave a like if you've enjoyed, subscribe for more videos like this one, and comment down below, tell me, what do you want to see on this channel?